Wednesday, 7/8/2020, 11:52 p.m. I want to talk about these dreams that this person had. His name is Dana Coverstone's a pastor. I don't know anything about him. And he had 3 dreams starting from December. And it's called A Warning for America. And the first part of this goes like this. He saw a calendar before him, and starting from January 2020, of this year now, it started to be flipped, from page to page, starting with January. So he saw January, then it flipped to February, then it flipped to March, okay? Then, like a hand held the page, and a finger underlined the month of March, and it tapped it 3 times, March, like pointing to it, emphasizing importance of something to happen then, okay? Then, after that, the calendar started flipping again. It flipped to April, then May, then June. Then again, he saw a hand underlined June, and again it was tapped 3 times, like pointing to it, telling you, look at this, there's emphasis about these two months, okay? March and June. Then he saw all these things. He saw people marching, he saw protests, everyone wearing masks, long lines at hospitals, doctors with needles, a lot of people on ventilators, people sick, news headlines of thousands getting sick, ambulances going by, cities burned, protesters with their fists in the air, angry, government places. All this was happening at government places too, outside protests. He saw guns being held in the air and pumped up, in anger, and barriers within cities, total chaos, and vultures flying over large cities. Smoke rising, and people were very fearful and terrified, holding their guns, privately, worried something would happen to them in fear. Then he heard several times, brace yourself. Brace yourself. Okay? And since December, he's kept hearing that all along. And then he saw, I think he saw a news headline or something that said March, or COVID-19, and everything shut down, and protests. And again, he kept hearing he heard brace yourself, brace yourself, brace yourself. And that was the first dream. And the second dream was this past July 6th. And the first dream that I just said, he said he woke up and he wrote it all down. Now, on July 6th, this is the second part of this dream. And it continued where it left off. Again, he saw a calendar, and a white figure appeared, and he heard a voice say, Part 2. Once more, he saw a calendar being flipped. He saw June, July, August, and September. Once more, he saw a finger underlining September this time, in emphasis, and tapping it, tapped the word 3 times, like pointing to it, like September, September, September. And this would be another time that major things would happen, okay? And we see that he said that it came right to pass, starting in March, April, May. All the things that he saw in that dream from December, before this happened, and I described, this all actually took place, amazingly. At least that's what he said. So, again, now here we are, and it went through January, flipped to June, July, August, flipped to September, as I said, and this was emphasized September. Now, what happened then, the calendar flipped, continued, and he saw then October and November. Then he said, like, this really disturbed him and jolted him, and he was very intense and serious, like this was really the main time. This was something that was going to be really, really way worse than anything previous to this that he had, seen in these dreams that has started to take place, okay? And he said he woke up panicky. His heartbeat was racing so much, and he had to calm himself. It was so real. And so what happened was, at this point, with the second dream, I'm continuing this. As I say, he came to November. This is the continuation of the dream. And a finger, instead of tapping the calendar at this time like it did previously, 3 times, tapped it 3 times, pointing like this month, emphasizing something's going to happen, pay attention. But this time, the finger didn't just tap the calendar. Actually, the finger underlined November 3 times first. That's the first thing. It underlined it. Then instead of tapping the calendar, this time he saw a fist being formed, and it hit the calendar really hard, and the calendar exploded into the wall from the impact, and the numbers, like from the calendar, became like 3D, like as he described it, and they were flying everywhere and jarred loose. So like, pow! It smashed into it, showing that this is going to be way worse and really, really not good at this time come November. Okay, now let me describe what he saw then. He said he started seeing a cloud of chaos, and he moved his hand around, like I guess he saw this scene coming before him. That's how he described it, forming before him. And again, remember that it's November now, okay? And he saw armed protesters fighting in the streets, people knocking down one another, businesses shuttered and closed down, schools closed. He said that had cobwebs hanging on them, off the walls, and like posters and papers half hanging off walls, also indicating like no one has been there a long time, like it just sort of drooped down because no one has been around for a long time. So maybe that means schools won't even open up, and because it's like no one had been there for such a long time. Then he saw bank roofs being taken off, and he said something that it looked like alien abduction. I'm not sure what he meant, but I think he means by this next part here, he said money was flying through the roof, like it was being sucked upward or pulled upward, and he was watching wealth being taken away. And I think that, what he was saying is it seems to indicate major financial devastation also happening at this time. Okay. Then he saw the scene of politicians in back rooms, and they were making these deals with each other, with other people, and along this big giant table with briefcases, everywhere, whoever they were, and they were congratulating each other and laughing and smiling and smirking like they had, done all this. They had pulled this off. They were the ones that are bringing this all to pass behind the scenes, and that they were basically calm and they weren't in a hurry because they knew that they were the ones in control of all of this. And then he saw monuments destroyed, all kinds of chaos in Washington, D.C. D.C. was burning, he said, fires everywhere. He saw people being rounded up with Russian and Chinese soldiers. The Russian soldiers were telling the Chinese to go round up certain groups of people and to secure certain areas or quadrants, like of towns or cities or wherever, the suburbs. And he saw blue helmets of the UN, and there was military maneuvers going on, all over. So this was the scene that he saw. This is November again. He said he saw no sign of Trump, no sign of him or leadership at all in D.C. It was empty, like the offices and everything were empty. And I don't know what this means, but he said he saw vultures. They looked like gargoyles. They were 10 feet off the ground, attacking people mercilessly. I don't know if that's symbolic or something demonic. I don't know. I've heard things like this, but that's what he saw anyway. So, and then he saw people hiding in homes and garages, and churches and homes being burned down, total chaos. November, okay. Then he speaks about he's reverting back to when he saw the fist punch the calendar, again, meaning that this time was going to be way worse of things to come, compared to the previous months. So, and then finishing this, when all that had happened, he said the voice again repeated, "Brace yourself, brace yourself, brace yourself." So he's been hearing this, I don't know, in his spirit or whatever, in dreams or whatever, continuously, he said, from the start, from December, from when he started having these dreams. And that was the second dream, okay? Amazingly, it picked up from the first dream, and it was the same thing continued. Then he had a third dream. Here's the third dream, that he was having a yard sale to sell stuff for, I guess, missionary event, and they needed change. And he walked to the bank to get change, but the sign said there was no change available. And he saw the president of the bank at the teller station, and he went and asked her for change, and was told that the U.S. Mint is no longer making coins, and said that they stopped making them, and said to prepare for hyperinflation, and that what would be next is the $1 bills, and the $5 bills will also not be made. Then again the voice said, "Brace yourself, brace yourself, brace yourself." Okay, so he said everything he saw in that December dream has come true so far, from March to June. And so we're now at the start of the second phase, which he described. And then I described the third phase in November. Okay. Now he said he believes there's going to be another huge wave of COVID pandemic starting in September and October and November time period. Okay. He said there's going to be major election things going on, and problems and all kinds of things going on with the election very seriously. Major chaos, troops in cities, and protests even worse than what has been taking place right now. Buildings burned, and he thinks it's going to lead to civil war. And September through November, he said, awful, terrible, breaking. It's going to be a breaking point type of time. This is going to be, if it's the start of the tribulation or whatever, that this is what it means. He didn't say that, but I'm just saying this is going to be the time, September through November, and November is going to be like that's it, the really, really major final things happening, and that's where it ended. And he said he never did a video like this prophetically, but he's confident in what he heard and, what already has taken place. So, it has, according to what he's saying, these things have taken place, and he expects that there's no reason why, unfortunately, these other things won't start happening. Okay, so that's what the story is. So it's a little bit unclear in how it was stated and how I'm reading it here. I tried to interpret what he said as far as coming to September and pointing to September, and what he mentioned about September was he thinks it's going to be the start of a major COVID pandemic again, very, very bad, even worse than the first. And what he said, like about November, as I said, it'll be very serious. So I don't know, I guess it'll be a progression from September. Again, the finger pointed to September, and with the schools, and so I guess a progression of these things. It seems like that would mean that no one will be in the schools. They will have been shuttered and closed for a long time, maybe indicating there won't be, school. And then things would come to that point in November, and that's when, everything major would come down. I guess in a starting in progression from September, I would imagine. And he did another video that's like a half hour long, and he gives more details of the dream. And the one I saw, I'm just recounting the basics. Like, there's more detail in the other ones, but this is a pretty good idea of what he saw. My take on what he's thinking about, about believers being here or not, is like he has a certain opinion, but I don't think believers are going to be here for this kind of thing. Though he sort of like thinks like this, believers are going to have to go through this, and that's the warning, to prepare, or whatever was said there. Brace yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. He kept hearing, brace yourself, starting from December all through this, and in the dreams saying, brace yourself. So I don't know. I mean, he said something in the longer version about he saw these wolves like off in this dark pasture or something. Somebody came and was beating on him and telling him to go into the cities or places, and then some ended up in churches or something, and was like trying to deceive or lull to sleep like the people in the pews who were sitting in the back who weren't oblivious to this. And I don't know, he has his take on this, like about lukewarm Christians or whatever. So I don't know, it's kind of a mixed bag as far as maybe what his I don't know, his gospel is, or whatever, and his take on these things. I mean, not that, I don't know, whatever time we're going to be here for. And again, this is just one person's dream, and whatever interpretation it is, I mean, maybe we just won't be here for any of this, hopefully. And I'm not saying that this is an actual dream from God or not. I mean, it seems like it is, especially since he said he had the dreams, and they came to pass just like he said. And I think he said he had told that to pastors or others, leadership in his church or whatever beforehand, so that they knew, and he could corroborate that with others, and that he never did this before. And a video like this, it's not that he wants to, but he just felt that he should come and do this kind of video after what these dreams he had. I kind of feel like maybe it is accurate, and these things will happen as he said. Though there's something I just sort of like don't feel right about. I'm not sure. because I believe we're going to be out of here, very soon, and that this isn't going to be meant for us, hopefully, and that this isn't about us, hopefully. I guess because he didn't mention anything about the rapture and say, oh yeah, we're going to be gone from here, or had anything to do with the rapture within all of this. So I don't know. Though to me, it fits very well within my own timeline that I've said in the other videos I've done all along here about what's happening and what seems like the chronology of and the timing of things in the months ahead. It seems very close to what I'm feeling, and I've stated myself, saying that there would be like a full-blown pandemic sometime in September before school, and that's exactly what he's saying here. So that sort of corroborates what I'm thinking from what I've heard and what I've gathered, and my understanding of everything, that how this is gonna probably play out. Then again, I said that I always felt all along October, something about October and all of this, and that's right in the midst, right in the center, the bullseye of what he's saying. September, October, and then November. So maybe, I don't know. You can't say when the rapture will be, but hopefully we'll be gone very shortly. As we head into the fall here, okay? Because if this comes to pass, like he said, then I mean, like November is like tribulation time, according to the picture that he paints from what he saw. That's like total end time stuff. Seems like it would be going on. Again, he saw the fist. That's like saying, not just pay attention. This is like an explosion. This is, everything's gonna fly. It's major. The calendar just exploded at that point, and that was it. So I think he also said that there wouldn't be any government or something, or it didn't seem like there was any government at that point. Maybe total chaos. He said he didn't, see Trump. So whatever that means. So I don't know if this encourages you or, how it makes you feel, but the hope is in the rapture. That's where the hope is in all of this. That's where the hope is. And, we're not even 2 months away from September. Not just as far as this video goes, this dream or this prophetic, thing that's being said here. Though everything else, the whole picture as far as heading into September, where everything is heading in actuality, where it seems to be heading, and these dreams, seem to be right there, sort of showing the future. It seems to be really about what's likely to happen and how it's going to happen. And this is getting very close. It very much seems like all of this is getting very close to starting up again. Just like he's saying, another phase, a larger, major, even far worse wave of this going on. If I find out more about this person and his dreams, if he has any more, maybe he'll have more dreams shortly. Seems like he might, maybe he'll have a rapture related dream to this, to show that, because it seems like it just ended up like almost nowhere. Like his opinion is like to brace yourself and, for this as the church, to go through this. I don't know, but we'll see how this goes. Again, if he has another dream, or maybe he, this is what he was shown, but he wasn't shown about the timing of the rapture and all of this. But I think, what could I say? We're going to be gone soon, no matter what, I think that, and the tribulation is coming. According to this, it's like, if this is, a good indication or accurate of his dream, again, he's looking for November for this type of thing to happen, which looks like the tribulation, being in the tribulation by November. I'm not predicting that. And again, these are just dreams, okay? You have to just take it like it is and not say anything specific, but just it is what was said, and that's all there is to it. And you just that's it, I'd like to come back, to do a more positive spin on something like this hopefully someone has a good rapture dream to sort of corroborate the timing of things. I'm sure there is. Actually, two parts or two phases or pointing times already came to pass. That I want to emphasize that. First was you saw January, February, March, and it pointed to March. And then, with the COVID, all that going on, he described everything he saw, all the craziness happening. And then, what was it, April, May, June, and then pointed to June, and then all this stuff happening with the riots and everything going crazy and burning. So he saw all that two phases here, or two times, and then he's working on the next one, June, July, August, and September, and pointing to September. And then, like I say, October, November was the big key. So half of what he said came to pass already. So we're right there. I think we're right on the edge of the tribulation, and the rapture's going to happen, and it's going to come before this all breaks loose, I believe. Whatever the case is, it seems like, there isn't much more to go. The way things are going at this point and progressing. At least that's how I'm very much impressed. I get the impression of how this is going to play out. As I've said, I don't think this is going to wait till the end of the year. I really don't. I just hope we're not here much longer. I really don't. For every reason and in every way. To get away from everything. All of this. I mean, I don't think you could really imagine what a relief it will be, to be finally out of here. I really don't. I don't think we can even imagine it, to be free of all this and not have to face it or see any of it, ever again.